Dag Ronald.
Dag Tom.
Welcome bij Time to Talk. We'll do this conversation in English further on. Time to Talk is a show by PSA Belgium, Professional Speakers Association, and you're a long-standing member of this fantastic organization. So I welcome you in this edition of Time to Talk. And for the listeners who just zoom in and it's the first time they hear me, I'm Tom Komijne. This year, 2023, I'm president of PSA Belgium. And it's my honor to interview Ronald De Keersmaeker because
Mhm.
he's uh, for a long time member than I am, even of this organization. And he's a very gifted speaker. But first of all, Ronald, I will ask the question to you. Can you introduce yourself to the listener in the way you like it?
Yes, of course. Well, Tom, we know each other a bit longer already, obviously. So for everybody listening, hello, welcome. My name is Ronald De Keersmaeker, which is quite a common name in Belgium, but quite a difficult one in English, I suppose. So just please call me Ronald. I'm almost 44 years old, born in 79, and the proud father of two children, Bram and Senne, and professionally, and I suppose we'll be dealing with that a bit later as well, Tom. Professionally, I'm a public speaker, a trainer, and a coach. Thanks.
Thank you, Ronald, for this interesting intro. Um, you're an independent person professionally. You have your own business. Can you introduce your business to the listeners?
Yes, I can, and please allow me to kick this off with a small historical background. You can know that I'm actually a chemical engineer, and I started working in a multinational, and quite soon I noticed that going in depth on a product base wasn't really my thing. I appreciated much more the human and the team interaction and also the involvement of customers in particular. So very soon I wasn't be dealing with chemicals or products and so on, but I was visiting customers, was visiting clients, giving presentations, trying to negotiate, to convince him, and that kind of soft skill related teamwork as we were back then, that what was much more my cup of a tea. And to cut a long story short, after having lived quite some time in China and in Singapore and in India and Malaysia for this multinational, targeting new premises, starting new premises as well for the multinational and servicing our biggest European customers over there. I finally found my present wife, as to say, and I didn't want to travel anymore. And actually, this is where my, let's call it, professional public speaker's career actually started. So I went to our CEO and I told him I do not want to start up new premises and so on abroad. I want to stay here in Belgium. And he made a suggestion which I happily, with both hands, I took it in, obviously, because the proposal was to start guiding and teaching the high potentials of the company and how they should give a good presentation for customers, how to convince people, what to do with body language, all those kind of things that I'm still working on today. And then we negotiated some kind of a contract that I would be sure of my first customer because that was my first step to independency. I now have my own business, which is called Dixit, Dixit, from the old Latin word, let's say, the man who speaks, very freely translated. And so I had my first customer in, and quite some time or hours that was already adjusted to my agenda. And then I started to develop obviously also some new customers. And after 3 years, I was completely without the multinational we have been speaking about. And so I could make my jump forward to a 100% independent business, developing new customers and so on, always related to these Dixit topics.
Very interesting. May I ask, how did the transition go from employee to owning your own independent business?
Well, how did it go? If I understand the question correctly, there was something on the line. Well, how did it go? I was very anxious, but anxious in the positive way. I was very motivated. I felt I wanted to help and inspire people, Tom, in particular, because I'm sure that every day people come up with far better ideas than I will ever have. But the problem is for these ideas to reach the surface. And I can help people in doing that and how to create their storytelling, how to be passionate, how to convince, how to bring an argument, how to structure your talk, and so on, to motivate, to persuade people to take the journey from A to B together with you with your new idea. And I have seen it so many times. Probably you will have seen the same thing. How shameful is it to have a fantastic idea and then not change the world because of it? Because of lacking some essential, in my opinion, soft skills. Not being the best you can, not being the best help you can, not going out there to do what might help so many people. So actually the idea and the founding father maybe of the whole Dixit branch was to help other ideas to bring to the surface. It wasn't in particular my idea that Ronald wanted to be himself on a stage, look at me and let me talk and I have content. Essentially, this was not the first step. It was really about, I can hear you have a fantastic idea. I can help you to generate some income out of it, to help people with it, and to make it surface.
Okay, very interesting. And do you have a specific approach to do that?
Well, yes, actually, I do. I like to make a comparison with the world of sports, like a guy skiing. What I do in all trainings I present to people, or all coaches that we present to others, is that imagine a path in front of you, and I put down some ski flags. It's something like a roadmap, a system. First time you do this, then you do that, then you do that, then you do that. So it's a content roadmap for you just to follow. And secondly, very important, if I would be coaching you, for example, Tom, it's up to you to coach on your specific speed or going wide or going sharp. But as a Tom, you ski between those ski flags because it's never interesting to be non-authentic, People will feel it's a plastic man, So be authentic and ski according to your good feeling how to do it. Meanwhile, following a specific roadmap. If you do that, you will still remain yourself. You use your belly feeling, but you do this on top of a result driven system. And that will make a whole lot of a difference. Absolutely. So this is always how we ski, as to say it. So we have different systems or roadmaps, being it for public speaking, being it for negotiating, being it for I need to make a phone call to a strategic purchaser. I don't know how to specifically do that. All those kinds of systemizing is what we do with Dixit and what we teach now for others in order to bring their ideas alive.
I'm sorry for my line that it isn't that clear, the audio from my side. Yours
It
is crystal clear.
brilliant.
my next question is, Pete, you have your key core up to date for public speaking, for negotiating. Do you put it always on a timeline for the client? How fast can the client go? Is it a slow course? Is it a high speed course?
Well, if the question is how fast are people picking up these kind of systems, or how do you put it on a time course? Now, obviously, as we all know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but person A can be very fast in topic Z and can be much slower in another topic. Next to that, some people just tend to pick up stuff more rapid than others do. What we know from our experience is this: if you have an IQ level of 100, and probably you have, if you are listening and or watching this video, if you have an IQ level of 100, you can perfectly, without any how to say it, without any stress, you can stretch yourself quite easily towards this, let's call it this new level. Most of the time, it will take us at least uh, 3 times coming together. For example, if you look at some kind of a pitch, I want to make a new company pitch. I have this idea. I let people pitch. We give constructive remarks. We give some content and a roadmap. We cheese on it together. And then there's a coming back moment where this pitch is being brought again, as to say it. And then repetition is also on the private level. Obviously, the more miles as a speaker you get, the faster also you will go. And in the meantime, putting it on a timeline, we are there to, they can send in a new one, or we go and be in the audience to give some specific feedback and so on. So I don't know perfectly whether or not this is the answer to your
Yes,
question, but
yes, thank
okay.
you.
Okay.
This is the answer to my question.
Okay.
My next question, do you orient your business to the managers of big companies, or do you orient to the business owners or small business owners? What's your target audience?
Well, my specific target audience, there are two type of target audiences I have. My most operational business, as to say, to give trainings, for example. This is on for teams, for commercial operating teams. They go out, they hunt down, visit the customer, make a phone call, give a presentation, go into this negotiation, and we strategically and operationally train and coach the team for better sales results. So it's like a sales driven thing. Secondly, yes, we do train business owners and so on, because imagine you're a fantastic business owner, but when you need to pitch or speech in front of your teams or other audiences, well, this is such a money time moment, as to call it, to be there, to really be present, to be strong in a nice, acceptable way. But this is actually where the merit comes in, or where people say, I get this or that feeling at that person. And I encounter a lot of fantastic, informational, analytical, fantastic business people having a good idea, lacking a little bit, not only good sales teams, but also for themselves to present themselves in a powerful way. And those people, let's say the business owners or the big entrepreneurs, this is like what we call the second target audience, where we also strategically a little bit jump around together in order to think on how to create the next step in the total business, educating, teaching, coaching also the sales teams, as to say it. So those two topics, Tom, is what we do, let's say, almost on a daily basis. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Do you work solo? Is your company a one-man band, or do you have uh, employees, or do you have associates, or how do I see it?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. First, let me start with no, because I do have, I don't know the English word for that, Tom. It's een besloten vennootschap in
A
English.
company, a limited company, private limited company.
Okay. And we are in it with two persons and two persons only. A long, long time ago, I had 22 FTEs, and it has been just a personal choice to never have those amount of people again. Okay. That has been a personal choice. Ever since, I still work with 15, maybe 20 people, but they are not on my salary bucket. And they are all their self having their own businesses, and they can I can ask them, do you want to give this training? They have some certificates. Person one can, for example, give the systemized training in public speaking. Person two can give this kind of, person three can give both, and so on. So what I do now, I feel like a rich man. We have all our systems. We have a big team. They are not on my payroll. And whenever some need comes in, I will automatically ask myself the question, is it you, Ronald, that will go in and help the customer with this? Or do you know somebody better in your surroundings that is also Dixit systemized or affiliated to give this content? Then it's better, for example, to pinpoint Steven to match with the customer, or Cindy. So it gives me more liberty and less stress. So probably the best answer is no, I'm alone together with my associate, and we feel relaxed and luxurious having so many great people around us as a team as well.
That's very interesting. And of course, you're also a member of Professional Speakers Association for quite some years. Can you tell me how did you get to know this association? How did you enroll? Why did you enroll? And what kept you there?
Wow, that's like 3 or 4 questions at once. No, perfect. I met a very competent lady at what's it called? Let's call it a conference or whatever. And we drank a coffee, and she talked. I complimented her on her speech, said this was fantastic, and this too, and so on. And how about this? Maybe, and we shared some tips amongst each other. And I immediately came to know, like, this is a colleague. This is also somebody that is very vivid about the professional speaking way. And she told me about the Professional Speakers Association. She told me there was a branch in Belgium as well, relatively newly started, because upfront Belgium and Holland was together, but enough about that. So I immediately took contact, and I have to estimate, Tom, I think that might be like 8 years ago, something like that. Now, probably interesting to mention, for me at that time, I felt very lonely in this profession. As a speaker, for example, you go to a stage, you go to the next stage, you have in a Zoom meeting a good discussion with a customer, for example, and then you meet him live with his team to get the ins and the outs. You go, you create your content, you make your content. Maybe you give some money to a company to make good visuals if you can't or want to do it yourself. But anyway, put a circle around it. And for me, it was quite a lonely job. So talking about the merits or what I gained from PSA Belgium in the past years is maybe it sounds a bit strange, but first of all, yes, I am alone, but actually I'm not alone. This was my first cup of tea that came in. I felt very lonely, and I thought I was alone. And then suddenly you get to know 10 or 20 people more and more and more, better and better and better, even also some private conversations, and you get the feeling like, hey, I'm not alone out there. So this was, let's call it a relief. Probably there are better words to use, but it's not my mother language, English, as you probably all have heard. So let's call it a relief, like, hey, okay, it was an insight to me. There are others. And then obviously there are others, yes, but luckily they're organized. I know where to find them. I want to be part of it. I can use them as a soundboard. Where else, as a speaker, could I ask some questions that I back then immediately could ask at the Professional Speakers Association? Nowhere. Nowhere. So immediately with my team membership, some issues that were really struggling within my body were solved. I wasn't alone anymore. I didn't have the feeling I was alone anymore. I had a soundboard. I could ask some specific detailed questions with people, let's call it standing in my own shoes. That was like a new world to open. And obviously, on top of that, as you know, Tom, when we come together and there is a speaker, there is a part of content and so on, there are always so many takeaways for me just to improve your own level as a speaker, to get some feedback from professionals, and also to generate specific business sometimes, because I don't know if you are aware of it, but in some cases, I have also, together with somebody of the PSA, done some business together. Without mentioning any names, that's not relevant for now, but some PSA members, for example, I have been working with them as an associate in Dixit, asking them to give some speaking training. Yeah, no better place for me to find competent speaking people. We drip them in our Dixit system, and after 2 days, off they go, and they will do a fantastic, amazing job. And you know those persons, you know you can count on them, and so on. They will not let you down. So this is all a lot of added value for me. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, this is how happy I am still. I still am, having once chosen for PSA Belgium.
Okay, thank you very much, Ronald. Um, I think we can wind up this session for today. Um, but I'll still ask you one final question.
Okay.
I kept the last one, the best one for last. Yeah?
Should
But
I do something special or hold my desk here or okay,
no,
lounge it.
um, business-wise, all people listening now, how can they help you to improve, to help you with your business? Who should they bring you in touch with?
Okay, let me give three short answers, and two of them will be a surprise because I have not been talking about it in our short time here together. But
Take your
still,
time.
if the question is how can we help you? Well, first of all, you can help me obviously by looking out for great ideas and coupling them towards me. It will be my privilege to help increasing these ideas. As a matter of fact, if it is a, let's call it a green idea that can positively change the world, I might do it for free. I'm a human being. I'm only here for a short time. I want to bring a positive contribution. So yes, secondly, you can help me by bringing me in contact with some CEOs or directors, because I'm also a chapter director of a, let's call it a business event coming together specifically for CEOs or CFOs or C-level persons that can guide a ship of more than 5 million euro. And we bring them together in a high valuable network. And thirdly, and here might be a surprise, but as you all know by now, I'm passionate by the spoken word. I want to help people, especially children. And in the last week, I actually was a herald, dressed in a middle-age costume, telling stories about the Middle Ages to 90 children. and we give adventure teams for children when they have a holiday period and the parents want to drop them somewhere because they have to work themselves. They can come to our adventure parks, and you can help me by reaching out and by building this community, because we believe that by storytelling, by enthusiasming a child at that specific time, the mind is completely open, and then it is susceptible to pour in some knowledge, some admiration, some verwondering in English. Tom, help me. Some verwondering in Dutch. Please look it up. Thank you.
Yeah. And for the people who are interested, let's start with the last one, those children hero stories. How can they find it? Is there a website about it?
No, it actually was
Or is
our
it
first camp last week,
okay?
but the website will be Lionheart.
Okay,
Lionheart, tales with a story with a heart. That will be some
okay,
kind of a tagline. And we want to do more than, which is very important, sending children to a tennis camp or a padel camp and a
mhm,
football camp. We also want to bring stories to the children, some history to the children, a true experience to trigger their creativity as
mhm.
you want. So now we have been giving Robin Hood and Lady Marian, and in a few weeks' time we will be developing Merlin, the magician
Yep.
thing.
Well, let's put it this way: the moment the site is live,
Okay,
you send
yes,
us the link, and we put it with this video in the comment section.
yes, absolutely.
Then
Thank you very
the
much.
the other project, the networking project,
Yes,
do they have a website somewhere, or is it on the
yes.
Dixie or professional website? Where can they find
I-
information? The people who are interested.
Two words, they start with a C. It's called corporate connections. Corporate connections, let me say in a nutshell, three things that needs to be present in order to become a member. First of all, you have to have the heart on the right place. You have to be able to open up yourself for other ideas and share your own experiences. Secondly, you do need to be able to give direction to the company. And thirdly, a company of minimum 5 million euro. And then we bring those C-level people together. They have their own share of problems or opportunities. They are their own soundboard, and we come together once a month.
Okay, interesting. Corporate connection. And then your own business. What's your website, Ronald, for the
Oh,
people listening?
it is Dixit, Dixit as the Latin it is. Dixit International in one word, .be.
Okay, so people will know how to contact you and how to help you. Thank you very much for this interview, for this time to talk. I will publish it in our next newsletter edition, and from then on, it will be on YouTube, and you will be able to share it all over. And I hope the members of PSA will do the same for you.
All right,
Thank you
thank you
very
very
much,
much.
and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Tom. Bye bye. Thanks.
Recording stopped.